everyone, and thank you for being here. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at the birth charts of Sebastian's mother and stepfather. Not to speculate or sensationalize, but to better understand the emotional and psychological patterns that may influence how they respond if they are faced with charges or jail time in the future. This is a delicate topic, and I want to be clear. This video is not about blame. It's about exploring the patterns that may be playing out now that public attention is growing and the pressure for justice is building. Astrology doesn't excuse choices, but it can offer insight into the internal mechanisms behind a person's behavior. And in a case like Sebastian's, where truth and accountability deeply matter, understanding those inner dynamics can help us all see the bigger picture. So I want to thank you for watching and for continuing to stand for truth, awareness, and justice. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this birth chart. And also, right before I do read this birth chart, I want to add this disclaimer. Everything written, predicted, and or stated in this video is allegedly and based off my opinion only. Thank you. So we're going to start with Sebastian's mother. Emotional energy read. Primary vibes, defensive, strained, uneasy. Sebastian's mother feels the tension rising, but instead of meeting it with humility or grief, she appears to be tightening her defenses. There's a heaviness around her energy, like someone constantly scanning, watching, and trying to stay one step ahead of the truth. Her likely emotional state. Fear masked as indifference. She may be acting nonchalant outwardly, but spiritually, her aura is jittery. There's a frantic energy that surrounds her. It's as if she is waiting for the next shoe to drop. Anger and control. As people start to speak louder for justice, she may begin to lash out or attempt to manipulate the narrative more. Control is her comfort zone, but that grip is starting to weaken. Guilt buried deep. It's there, but it's walled off. She is not allowing herself to fully feel what she has done or what she has allowed to happen to Sebastian. This will be her reckoning later. Sebastian's stepfather, emotional energy read. Primary vibes, heavy, numb, and avoidant. His energy feels denser and less defensive, more suppressive at this time. A lot like someone sitting under the weight of truth they've buried so deeply that they barely feel anything anymore. But the cracks are beginning to form. He is starting to feel like hunted down prey, and he should. Emotional status states. Likely emotional states. Avoidance and numbness. He's spiritually checked out, and he likely avoids discussions, interviews, or anything that forces confrontation at this time. But the noise is getting louder again, and the avoidance is starting to fray. Fear of exposure. He senses that there is something shifting. The energy around him is starting to close in on him like prison walls. Whether or not he feels guilt at this point is still unsure, but he does feel threatened. Instinct to isolate. He doesn't want the attention anymore. He doesn't want to talk, and he would rather vanish than be accountable. The silence is starting to speak volumes. They both feel the pressure. Make no mistake, they do feel it. Every video shared by his army, every post calling for justice, and every new article on a Reddit thread. Every time Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' name is spoken aloud in truth and love, they feel it. It creates a vibrational wave that surrounds them. You can imagine it like a spiritual siren, and now it's getting louder. They may act like nothing's happening. They may still pretend to be innocent. But spiritually, the universe is no longer protecting their lies. Justice has its own heartbeat, and they can feel it pulsing through the walls around them. Why the stepfather feels paranoid and closed in. Fear of exposure. His spirit field feels tight and constricted, almost like it's too small for all the pressure building around him. It's not paranoia in the sense of overreacting. It's tuned into the rising tide of truth. Energetic contract shift. If he concealed or harmed, there's a contract between karma and justice coming due. That creates a spiritual tightening, walls starting to creak under the weight of accountability. Why the mother feels on constant alert. Hypervigilance. Right now, she's in a mode of watch, protect, and hide anxiety. Her spirit feels the constant need to scan its surroundings, imagining threats that may or may not be real. Shreds of guilt or fear. Whether or not it stems from conscious wrongdoing or not, her energy shows layers of fear tangled with defense. There's a feeling of being watched and always expecting confrontation. Mirror vibration. When you tap into the mother pattern, there's anxiety, emotional overwhelm, and protective mechanisms. It feels like walking through a watchtower. Are they just paranoid or is something actually happening? I feel it's both. They are keyed into something real, the rising public pressure, legal movements, and spiritual vibrations his army sends. But they are also reacting by fracturing mentally and projecting, which amplifies paranoia. These emotions aren't their imaginations. They are sensory responses to vibrational frontline energy they are receiving from Sebastian's army. They feel it rising, and their own broken energy reflects their inner fractures of the dynamic. Who does it haunt more? The stepfather. He is haunted more because it's a private haunting, not spoken or acknowledged by him, just quiet nights, sudden fears, and tightening chest pressure. It creeps in like smoke through the cracks. He may not show remorse as we define it, but something in his spirit knows what was taken and that it can never be undone. He tries to walk around it, but it follows him everywhere he goes like a ghost. He doesn't speak of guilt, he wears it. He's haunted, not healed. The mother. Her energy shows denial and performance. Her alertness comes more from self-protection than sorrow. She may replay what happened, but not as a mother mourning a son, more like someone fearful of losing control over the narrative. It's not that she doesn't feel anything, but her grief is so entangled with image and fear that her ego can't face the truth yet. That numbness is her shield, and it's beginning to crack. What this means. They are becoming increasingly aware that a force is moving against the story they have tried controlling, and it's not just law enforcement or social media noise anymore. It's personal, and it has Sebastian's light in it. Who will crack first? Sebastian's stepfather, the one who will crack first and the hardest, in my opinion. He will crumble in silence. The stillness will start to eat at him. The air of isolation, the ticking of time, and the absence of distraction will start to peel back the layers of his avoidance. Inside those four walls, there will be no one to pretend for, no routine to run from his thoughts, and no Sebastian to hide from anymore. He is the one who will truly break down, haunted not just by what happened, but by the echoes of a child he tried to silence. He'll begin to feel Sebastian in the quiet and see his eyes when he closes his own. He will feel the weight of what was taken in every second of that echo chamber. His spirit will possibly grieve, and if he does, it will hurt. But it won't be a noble regret. It will be a raw spiritual collapse. Sebastian's mother, the one who will resist, then slowly crumble. She will hold out longer. She'll fight against perceptions, craft new narratives, and maybe even blame others. But inside, something will begin to crack, not because of empathy, but because of identity loss. She's built her existence on control, performance, and appearance. Jail strips all that away. What's left after that? Nothing, in my opinion. That emptiness will terrify her, and that's when the guilt will start to bubble up, not because she suddenly becomes a better person, but because the silence will make her face herself. Her grief will come through the collapse of her image, not directly through Sebastian, and that's the biggest spiritual tragedy of this all. But regret will arrive, just late and very tangled. Who will regret it the most? In the deepest sense, the stepfather will feel it most profoundly. He may not admit it, he may not confess it out loud, but inside the soul knowing will start to burn. He will sit with the weight of what was lost, not just in Sebastian, but in what he let himself become. Why is Sebastian's mother so cold about his disappearance? On a soul level, she may have cut off her emotional access to Sebastian long before he disappeared, either because he triggered feelings she didn't want to face, guilt, shame, or inadequacy. He required nurturing that she didn't know how to give him, and she was bonded to someone who rejected him and chose loyalty over her son. That inner split often leads to emotional detachment, and it feels cold because it is. She may have told herself he's difficult, he's dramatic, and I'm doing my best, but in truth, she abandoned him. If her core self is tied to control, appearance, and validation from others, then the truth about what she did is something she emotionally refuses to touch. This doesn't make her innocent, it makes her dangerously unself-aware. There is a cost, it just hasn't come due yet. Just because she seems unaffected doesn't mean she's safe. The universe has not forgotten. Her ancestors feel the weight, her soul knows, even if her conscious mind is locked in. why she possibly doesn't regret her behavior in this situation. At this time, it's because she can't. Not yet. Regret requires empathy. Empathy requires courage, and courage requires facing pain. Katie and Chris are cowards and bullies, in my opinion. She's built her whole identity around avoiding that pain, so she stays cold. But coldness is not a strength, it is a spiritual starvation. She is empty, and that emptiness is louder than screaming. Sebastian isn't waiting for her regret. He's already moved into peace because his army's love has reached him in ways her love never did. If you feel sick to your stomach by this, then you should, because what she did isn't just neglect. It is spiritual betrayal of the highest kind. A spiritual and emotional analysis from Sebastian's energy when you send him love. Sebastian feels it immediately, like warmth rushing into a space that was once cold. His energy is incredibly sensitive, especially to sincerity. It doesn't matter how long someone knew him or didn't. What matters is the vibration behind the action. When it's pure, when it's full of care, he lights up. Every kind word, prayer, or song shared in his name becomes a beam of light around him. And when you tell his story, Sebastian becomes brighter and bolder. When you share his name, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and talk about what happened or stand up to injustice, it sends ripples through the energetic field around his case. It shakes the walls that were built by lies. It makes the people hiding feel exposed, even if they don't know why. Spiritually, his energy becomes more activated when truth is spoken aloud. It's almost like it lifts the timeline or out of the shadow. And with that closing energy, I want to thank you for being here and taking the time to understand this part of the story. As always, this isn't about drama, it's about truth, patterns, and justice. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and if this case matters to you like it does to me, please consider sharing the video to help keep Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' name and story alive. I will see you in the next one. Stay grounded, stay aware, and thank you for standing with Sebastian. I will be doing a live on this in the next day or two. If you're interested in joining us for that Q&A on the live, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for all those updates. Y'all have a great day and talk with you soon.